Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girls. I'm your host, Patricia Baker, and my co host is here with us, of course, Miss PK, causing a sensation on TikTok.
Oh, I just can't wait. I'm getting so excited. It's like having Christmas when you're a kid. Whee!
It is. We got a phone call, everybody, from the wonderful lady who does our social media. Chanel called and said, "Hey, you ladies went viral." And it was all thanks to PK because you were talking about something everybody wanted to know about, which is what is it about your house number, how it affects the people in the house. And everybody went crazy over it. We're up to almost 150,000 views on that one clip, and everybody's talking
Amazing.
about it, participating, saying, what does my house number mean? So next week, PK is going to do a whole show on house numbers. So be sure to spread the word on that and join us for that show. It's going to be phenomenal. So unbelievable. Look at you go.
Makes me feel like I want to move, find a new house, new things to learn.
Me too, because I'm freezing to death here in New England.
Oh, it's been warm here, which is lovely, but it's off kilter because my office is cold because it's the stone walls, etc. But it's been in the high 70s, but it doesn't feel like it.
No.
They're tricking us. I think thinking I'm bikini time, and I walk out and I go, give me the fur coat.
Well, you can see I'm wearing a down jacket tonight because it is.
Yeah,
I'd
be wrapped in my blanket if I could get away with it.
Oh God, it's just this winter. It kind of hit me up.
It's taking a toll. But you know the neat part about what's going on right now is we're in a 3 Universal month, and it's all about being creative and very optimistic. So it's a great month for self-expression, and any type of communications this month is great. So it's a time to bring in social optimism, and there's a lucky number. We all have lucky numbers. So use your lucky number, the one you feel is good about, because this is a month to push the envelope where it comes to luck. So it's a perfect time for expressing your talents, but don't gossip, because if you do, it's going to come back and bite you where you sit.
Uh-oh.
But it's great for sharing time with friends and ideas. Not a good time to take shortcuts, but the nice thing is that you're going to find that it's going to give you a lot of creative juices working for yourself. But on the other hand, yin and yang, here we go again. Do be cautious because the lungs and the throat are the weak link. And look at the kind of weather we've had. It's enough to create issues for everybody. But being creative and a good communicator are top of the list. So this month is all about creation of all types, scattered energies, and there's a luck factor that goes with it.
Oh, that too.
And run with it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be an exciting time then. It all sounds good if we don't gossip. No gossip. Anyway. No. It's so much fun to spill the tea. But anyways, we have a dear old friend on tonight. And we're so happy to have him because he's just tremendous. He's been in the radio business for a long, long time. Joel Sturgis is a Minnesota-based radio host, investigator, and entrepreneur with a reputation for asking the questions others won't. Best known as Joel Sturgis Show, he dives into politics, current events, corruption, and the unexplained with a mix of skepticism, curiosity, and no-nonsense honesty. Alongside his broadcasting work, Joel is active in paranormal research and spiritual wellness discussions, exploring firsthand accounts and unexplained experiences while encouraging critical thinking and open dialogue. When he's not behind a microphone, bringing the same straight shooting approach to his work as a writer. He's got a new book out. Midwest Haunted Places Road Trip. We are going on a road trip tonight with Joel.
Sure.
About all these scary haunted places that he's been to and how to find them. Joel, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me on.
Oh,
it's our pleasure.
This is so it's like a reunion having you on the show.
It is. I want to say I think I had you on the air with us. It's got to be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 maybe years
Oh my
ago. It's
God.
been too long. It's been too long. It's what it's
It
been.
has been. And now look at you go with your new book. This is phenomenal. You know, I got to say, before we even get into the book, I love these kinds of books because to me, it's a perfect way to relax at night in front of a roaring fire or outside if it's warm enough with a campfire and read and just have everybody sitting around listening to these ghost stories. It is just so much fun to do that. It doesn't have to be Halloween. It can be any time of the year. And it's just a great thing for families and as long as it's not too scary for kids. But it's just a wonderful way to read aloud like they did in the old days
Mhm.
and enjoy each other's company. So what possessed you to do this book?
Well, that is a big question. So I guess I have to start at the beginning because this has like been 30 years in the making, this book. So it wasn't like overnight. It wasn't like something I thought, well, one day I'm going to write a book about haunted places. I can always tell when an author, and there's many great authors out there that write books like this. So there's tons of them out there. They're just awesome. Haunted road trip guide stuff. But can always tell when they've never been there. You know, the author hasn't actually been there. And there's nothing wrong with that because, you know, you can do your research and you can do the writing. But I didn't want to do that. I only included places I've actually physically been because, you know, because if I didn't like it, I'm not going to recommend anyone else go there either.
Right.
So I just wanted to include places. And before I was done, I looked at my list. I went, holy crap, I've been to a lot of places. and so, you know, these are all highly recommended because I've been there. You know, I've experienced it. I've done the tours. I've done the ghost walks. I've done the ghost hunting. I've done all that stuff because there's nothing worse, in my opinion, because you read about a place, it's all hyped up in a book or on a TV show. You go there and it's like, oh, is that it? Is that, I mean, are we done? you know, but like I said, it's 30 years in the making because it almost took me 30 years to hit all these places.
Gosh.
I found myself with some downtime, and it really began writing this during COVID. That's how long it took me to write this darn thing.
Okay.
So I because everyone was locked in and we had nothing better to do with our time. So next thing you know, I'm sitting there and I'm kind of writing and I am the first to tell you, I am not a professional writer by any means. I will be the first to tell everybody I am just an average guy that has a lot of interest in ghosts. And there is a reason for that because I used to never believe in ghosts. I was agnostic on ghosts.
Really?
Yeah. I was fresh out of college. Oh, I got a ghost story for you. Everybody's got a ghost story. It's kind of like what they always say. Everyone loves an origin story. Well, let's do my origin story on ghosts. I had just finished college. I went to Brown for radio broadcasting.
Mhm.
And I was looking for a job. Anything that would give me time behind the microphone. That's what I needed. It was just anything. Come on, hire this kid, please. And at that time, it was hard. It was hard convincing any of the larger radio stations to take a chance on an unknown kid from the Midwest, you know. So finally I landed a job, and I got to say, and there's nothing wrong with country music at all. Not my thing, but there's nothing wrong with it. So I got a job at a country music radio station of all things. And it's funny because when I interviewed for the job, I was wearing my Metallica shirt, you know, I'm all, you know, this is the 90s, right? So I'm, you know, I'm pretty much a metal kid. And I go in there and I, you know, have all my stuff. And of course they hire me, but they said, you know, it's for night. It's overnights. And I was just happy to get a job, right, in the industry. I'm like, oh, thank you. I'll work anything, you know, whatever time you need me to get coffee, I'll do that for you too. So I had been there about a year and I was working my overnights. And in this country music radio station, this is in Texas at the time, I was living in Texas. And there was a guy that would come on every Sunday morning. And his name was Roy Johnson. Now, Roy, he was so cool. And I got to know him because he was a real cowboy. I mean, like no nonsense, used to drive cattle. I mean, real rancher, right? Like a real real cowboy,
A
not
real
a fake one, but the real deal, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I
Cool.
got to, what's that, ma'am? I'm sorry. Okay. Anyhow, I got to know Roy really well. And he loved baseball, and we talk about baseball. We do this, do that. Okay, but let's fast forward a little bit. Year goes down the line. I've gotten to know Roy real well. And every Sunday morning, without missing a beat, he would show up to work and we would talk for about 10 minutes because I'd put an extra long set on, about 10 minutes of nonstop music for him to have time to hit the studio, get himself ready, all that kind of stuff. Just as being nice to the guy because we liked each other. If you didn't like another radio host, you do what they call going in hot, meaning the second they hit that studio, they have to be talking.
Ooh.
If you like the person that's coming in behind you, you'd set them up with a buffer. So,
Right. Now we know the tricks behind the trick.
yeah, if you don't like them because you knew that they would have to scramble and they would sound really terrible,
Right.
but
Yeah.
we all took care of each other. So Roy was there, and like clockwork, we talked for about 5 minutes. And of course I said, well, Roy, you have a good show. And of course he said, all right, Joel, good seeing you. So he went in the studio, and now this studio was a 2-story studio. So our broadcast studio was on the second floor, and then our business offices were on the first floor. Okay. So to leave the building, you'd have to go down a narrow, dark hallway, down some steps, and then you'd leave the building. And this is a Sunday morning. So there is no management to be found anywhere, right? So, I mean, the place would have to be on fire for a management to actually want to be there on a Sunday.
Right.
So I'm walking through the building, and my boss at the time, his name was Dennis. And I saw Dennis standing in the hallway while I'm coming down. I said, what the heck you doing here, man? I mean, everything's good. What brings you to the station? He says, yeah, he says, I'm here to cover a shift. Interesting. I said, well, whose shift? He says, Roy's shift. I said, no, Roy, you're fine. Roy's here. Maybe he thought he was running late or something. He looks at me and he says, that's impossible. I said, why? He says, Roy died last night.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
his wife called, got a hold of us, and he died of a heart attack. and
my word.
And he died. And I said, no, man, no, he's here. And I thought maybe he was messing with me because he had a little bit of a reputation. And I thought, wow, this is really morbid even for you, Dennis. Come on, this is a new low. So we're going to go upstairs. I'm going to show you Roy is here. So we go upstairs, and he's coming behind me. He's let me humor him. He's humoring me by following me. And we get up there. Roy's gone. Gone. Studio empty. Radio music is playing that I put on, and he is gone. Nowhere to be found. Like, I'm frantic at this point. And I remember our break room was just off our studio, and he was drinking a cup of coffee out of one of those styrofoam cups, and the cup was on the table. Like, right. So, and I'm like, he was here. I'm telling you, there's this coffee cup.
Yeah.
And of course, Dennis looks at me and he says, you've been working a lot of nights, so maybe you need a break.
Yeah.
Maybe you're confusing your days.
Wow.
So we talked for like 5-10 minutes. I mean, had I known he was dead, that would have thrown a whole different spin on that conversation.
I bet.
Yeah.
But it was funny because after that happened, and I had to go back to work, I'm thinking to myself, back in my head, Roy, whatever you do not show up to work. Just do not show up to work, Roy. Don't come here.
Please. Oh my goodness. That is an amazing story. That's one of the best we've ever heard.
And he was as solid as anyone. Like solid as
he looked
anyone.
You couldn't see through him. It was like a physical being.
Just a physical being, just like he was there.
How scary afterwards.
It was, and it was the afterwards that was crazy, because then, of course, that changes your worldview and everything. Because now you're like, well, yes, studio chat, yes, absolutely. Actually, it was still warm, by the way, the coffee.
It was?
It was, and I picked it up, smelled it, touched it, and I'm like, he was here. He was absolutely here. And of course, I had a real hard time accepting what had just happened to me. It
I
took
can
me a little
imagine
bit.
so.
It's like, okay, I go from ghost stories are great. I like them as much as the next guy, but are they real? Come on, are they really real? To holy crap.
Yeah.
And now what I do with this information that I have,
Mm.
and wait a minute, if that happened to him, how many other are out there? I mean, if you go looking, what else can you come up with? And so that kind of opened the door. That is what opened the door.
Yeah, I mean, it's what's so nice about that story is there's a lot of elements that are just incredible, but
Mhm.
it wasn't scary when it happened because you thought he was alive and you were just talking to him normally, your 5
Mhm.
minutes of conversation. And so it was a nice connection only to find out you were talking to a ghost.
You're right. And it wasn't like you're saying, it wasn't like scary. It wasn't like boo factor. There was no cold spots. There was no nothing.
I have to ask you a question, Joel, because sounds like he didn't really know he was dead at that point.
That's what I'm thinking.
His
That's what
life.
I'm thinking.
Mhm.
I'm what I think, my own theory on this. And again, there is no, I even say this in the book. I ain't no expert. I've been doing it a long time, but I ain't no expert.
Mhm.
But because there are no experts. I mean, that were the
Right.
case, it wouldn't be paranormal anymore, it'd just be normal, right?
Exactly.
I think what had happened myself is I think he passed on, but I think because he loved what he did so much and he was so ingrained in that routine in him
Mhm.
that even after death, he showed up.
Incredible.
Because he really had a love. What's that, ma'am? I'm sorry.
Wasn't ready to let go.
Yeah, because he had such a love for radio. It was like he found something that he used to tell me, I found something I love as much as I loved ranching. And that's saying something because that's all what he did since he could walk was ranch.
Mhm.
And so, he would do his classic country music radio station stuff and he would do it and people loved him. He was a huge hit. I mean, and yeah, he taught me a lot.
Yes. Gosh. Now, was he married? Did you tell his wife this happened?
I did. I eventually did. It took me about, I would say, a good month, maybe 2 months before I would even talk about it with anybody.
Yeah.
My manager had brought it up a couple times, took me aside, asking how I'm doing, because I was very close to him. We're good friends.
Yeah.
And I would told him what had happened. And of course, I don't think he ever believed me, to be honest.
Really?
But why would you? I mean, you hear this crazy story about this guy coming back from the dead. I mean, he would kind of give you that whole figurative pat on the head, like it'll be all right. Don't worry.
It's okay, right?
Yeah, because he was older at this time. My manager was in his 60s at the time, so he was just like, I've heard a lot of stories. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
But again, it's so unusual, your story, because he looked corporeal. He looked like he was alive and in a body. And when so many of these ghost stories are about, you see filmy figures that are floating up the floor. That wasn't like your experience was very different. You know what your experience reminds me of? One of the best ghost stories I've ever heard, which yours is very comparable to. Telly Savalas. Have you heard Telly's story?
No, do tell.
Well, I can't say it like he did. I will refer everybody to YouTube and do a search for Telly Savalas's ghost story. But really, in short form, he ran out of gas and someone stopped and picked him up. And he had a very high voice, like something was kind of wrong, but very high voice. And he helped him get the gas. And he gave Telly a piece of paper with his phone number on it because Telly wanted to repay him for the gas because he was on his way to a date. I mean, it was this whole big long story. But anyways, so the next day, Telly called the phone number to see where and how he could repay this man. And he had his name and everything. And the wife answered the phone and she thought it was some kind of cruel joke because her husband had died like a week ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
But Telly was like, there's no way. No, he picked me up in this car, and he had this really high voice. And as it turned out, he was shot in the neck.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I had
Dang.
to go listen to Telly's.
I'm going to have to check that out. I've never heard that story.
It is so beautifully told
Mm.
by him. And it was a really touching story, the way he told it. So I'll butcher it if I go any further with it. So everybody just go watch it. It's great. But your story is very comparable to that. Again, because it was a real person, but that real person had passed.
Yeah. I mean, I tell people this, and it took me, before I actually talked about it in the public, I bet you a decade had gone by. And because I just didn't really, for a long time, because this was circa 1996. And so I didn't tell anybody really until Ghost Hunters hit the air, remember, in 2004?
Yes.
And that came out and stuff. And people were a little more open to talking about it. And of course, people would say, well, I got a ghost story. And I'd say, well, yeah, I got a ghost story. You ready for this one? And so, but it took a long time, and almost because I almost felt kind of dumb in some ways too at that time, because no one wanted to believe me. It was just no one they all looked at me like, boy, the room over there at the mental ward, it is waiting for you.
Start checking your water.
Right?
Oh my goodness. This is great. Well, so now let's go to your book.
Sure.
Right. You've got some really creepy things in there. I will not go to prisons or mental hospitals to visit. It's just a big no-no for me. But you have them listed right up front in the book. So tell us about the prisons and the mental hospitals, because they're well known for having.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first one I'm going to say was the scariest for me was Mansfield. I really deep dive into Mansfield in the book, because I spent a lot of time there. And I kicked around for a long time. I was actually in the building for 2 nights 100% by myself.
Oh, you are a brave man.
Well, it's one of those things.
Wow.
Of either brave or dumb. I'm not sure which, but at the time I knew a guy that knew a guy, because through my radio connections because normally they don't let people in by themselves into a place like that. Yeah. So because of my broadcasting career, I kind of knew a guy that was able to talk to a guy. And then I just kind of got it done. And I spent a couple nights in there by myself. And it's such a cool place, but it's so huge when you get inside of it as well. Mm-hmm. But it is. And one thing, when you're by yourself in a place like that, right, you're the only one there. Because I was literally locked in. Once they closed the door, they locked the door. So I was locked in there. So it wasn't like, hey, I'm going to go down to the 7-Eleven, get a Slurpee now because I'm sick of being in here. They're like, hey, we're going to come unlock this door at this time, and you had better be ready to go. And this is a little bit before it got huge, right? So not everybody was kicking around there yet. I mean, it was an attraction, but it was more... At this time, it was more like a museum attraction. The ghost thing really hadn't been huge yet, but people I knew that had worked there had said, wow, that this Mansfield is nuts. You got to get in there. Mansfield is crazy. And so this is before the whole craze took off where every town had a ghost hunting crew. Yeah. And so I was in there, and it was definitely a surreal experience, because you have all these noises of this giant building, and not everything's paranormal when you're in there. That's a big building. You're going to hear the creaking and the groaning and the wind, and you're going to hear this, you hear that, but the shadow figures, I can't explain how I saw shadow figures run across the wall. I can't explain how doors were, slamming on command. I can't, so it was, and it's kind of a sad tale as well. Mansfield is, and so it really was a reformatory, and the people that were there were treated as such. And it was, the more I found out about it, the more I felt bad for
Yeah.
the people that were there.
Yeah.
Because these are people that were actually living, that were there, that had to deal with it, because it was quite abusive back in the day.
Oh, yes, it absolutely was. That's part of why I would never go, because it's the pain of that, and knowing these people were really needing help.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Get it? They were
wanted to hide them instead.
Yeah.
Job of it. So it's just terrible.
Well, because back then it was, all young male offenders between 16, and there's even adults in there at 30 years old. So you're mixing these kids with these adults, and what the heck can go wrong, right?
Right.
And so it was really kind of sad. And I would say at some points I questioned my own sanity. Why am I in here by myself?
Well, what did you experience when you were there? Did you see things?
Yeah. It was when I was in there, and I saw there was a lot of shadow figures. You'd see a lot of. No, I didn't see anything on par with Roy. I didn't see a full body like here I am, but there was a lot of shadows. There was a lot of, because back in that time, there wasn't all the equipment we have today. So I didn't have like a REM pod, and I didn't have this, I didn't have that. I did have an EMF detector. I did have that only because an electrician friend of mine said he uses these to detect for EMFs when he's doing electric work. So I pressed a lot of stuff into service that was still not really widely thought of as for the paranormal at that time.
Right.
A lot of EVP, did a lot of EVP. There was a lot of call and response sessions, stuff like that. I was trying to do stuff that really you didn't see a lot of people doing. I was lucky enough, I shouldn't say lucky enough, I read a lot of like Hans Holzer stuff, back in the day. I read a lot of course, like the Warrens. I read their books, stuff like that. But Hans Holzer, he kind of at that time went through the this is how you do this kind of stuff, because it was long before we had the stuff we have today. So I guess I was blessed to go in there, right? I was blessed to go in there cold, inexperienced. So everything I was experiencing was fresh and new, and scared the living heck out of me. So
really, gosh. Now it sounds like that's more of an experienced trip, like somebody who's done this a few times, because I can't imagine a newbie going into a place like that.
Yeah, no, I don't recommend it. I mean, I wouldn't recommend somebody, brand new wanting to go in to like a place like Mansfield myself, especially, go with a lot of friends. I put that in the book. Go with somebody. Don't be like me. Don't go into these places by yourselves.
Scare yourself to death.
Just go in with a group of people.
Behind you.
Right. Just because I did it, don't be dumb like me.
Yeah.
Because what if I would have gotten hurt, for instance?
Yes.
Not even ghost-wise, but what if I would have fallen?
Right.
I think back on some of those places I'd go, and I'd say, what was I doing? What if I would have been stuck there?
Yeah. Plus, there's so many things that can follow you home. I mean, we've heard that so many times with people that are going into houses that are haunted or institutions that were haunted. But even with Skinwalker Ranch, we've heard about that with things following people home. And so you really kind of have to know what you're doing and how to protect yourself, how to know if something's following you home, and not allow it further.
Oh, in the early days, I didn't do any of that stuff.
No,
I didn't even know what that was. Go in there, going, well, let's go check this out. And now I know better. Now I know much better.
Yeah, exactly. So tell us more. Are there any favorites that you have, or any that you had really a scary time that you would never go back to it? Tell us.
Well, ones I wouldn't go back to, I didn't include in the book, because some of them were just terrible. Well, I shouldn't say that. There was one I did include in my own home state of Minnesota. I think it's Nopamine is in there, and It is terrible in there, and not because of the ghosts, but because of the building is crumbling. It's the
Oh,
only place I stood in water and still could breathe in dust.
oh,
You
no.
know, so it's just falling apart. They do offer tours every now and again. It's a old tuberculosis asylum, or
Okay.
and it's in disrepair. A lot of these places, unfortunately, are in disrepair.
Right.
And that's the unfortunate part, is our history is crumbling right along with the buildings.
Yeah.
You, you know,
That's,
uh, that one did make it in. I wouldn't recommend necessarily, if you're real sensitive to dust or anything, don't go to that one. It will be really rough on you if you have a real bad
yeah.
dust allergy.
Yeah.
But it's cool,
Bad. Yeah.
but it's crumbling.
Hmm.
Wow.
Now, Villisca Axe Murder House, for instance, though, that was the saddest. It's one of the saddest ones I've ever been to, and that's in
What
Iowa.
made it so sad?
That's the Axe Murder House where the family was killed, and they don't know who did it, and they have the theories. But the atmosphere is so thick in there. When you go in there, it's just so oppressive.
Tell us the story of this, because probably a lot of our listeners don't know about this.
Yeah. So Villisca Axe Murder House, it's pretty infamous because they never caught the murderer. There's been a lot of speculation who the murderer was. There's been a lot of talk who it might be, but no one ever has.
Did they ever? So they named names, but they just could never prove it.
So they thought here and there, they thought they'd have somebody, like one time it was the preacher, and then another time it was a politician, and they thought that they would have somebody, but they never panned out, right?
Okay.
So what it was, though, was the family was sleeping, and they were, and I'm gonna have to look through my own notes here on everything. And the victims were the Moore family, and there was 4 children that were in the home, and there was 2 that were just guests. Those poor kids.
Oh.
And what had happened was, in the middle of the night, and they figured this person was hiding in the house when they got home, because they'd gone to a church event. And they came back, and they figured the person was hiding in the house until these people fell asleep. Now, this house is tiny. I mean, there's not much of this house. I mean, if you've ever been in there, it's like, wow, this is really a small house. They figure that the person, whoever killed them, hid in the house, and then once everyone was asleep, they came out, and they axe murdered them. Basically, they killed them all. And you could see, if you go into that house and you look up, you can see where the axe was hitting the ceiling when he was doing his downstrokes to kill him.
Oh.
And that was pointed out to me, and it was just chilling. And then they figured that whoever killed them stayed in the house for quite some time. He ate something, he washed his hands. He was in there for quite a while before he left, after he killed this family. And
What
so
year was this?
this would have been 1912.
Oh, so it was long
June
before.
10th. Yeah.
They never found DNA. It was way before DNA.
Yeah, June 9th, 10th, 1912. Well, the thing of it is, though, is after the murders happened, it was a big to-do in town, so they'd let everybody in, right? So every townsperson was walking through his crime scene after it happened. So forensics, was out the window. Any kind of forensics was out the window, because you had everybody walking through it to take a look at the crime scene. And so it was so tainted that they never had a chance to catch anybody. And so, of course, there's been a lot of theories who it might be, who it could be, but never a true lead on who killed these people. And so when you go in there, it's so oppressive. It kind of, I say this in the book because that's how it felt to me. It almost felt like you're going underwater. You ever get that pressure feeling? Like you're, yes, that's how it felt to me. It was like I'd have to leave and catch my breath. So it felt like you're going under. It was so thick, the atmosphere. You really did feel like you're going underwater. It was the weirdest feeling.
Yeah.
Weirdest feeling.
Have any psychic mediums talked to the dead and to find out who did this? And
I have read a lot of accounts of psychics going in there and talking, and they say it was the preacher, and then there was a politician, and then there was basically a transient, and they've never been able to pin it down. No psychic that I'm aware of has just come right out and had anything credible to say, well, this is who it was, and here's why. It's just been the same speculation over and over again, unless one of our audience members who know more than I do as far as, you know, that end of the psychic thing, you know, and it's really sad that they died, because you could sleep in the dang bed they were killed in. You're right. They have the furniture there, and it's like, why would you want to do that?
Wouldn't want to, no. But it does sound like it could be a really interesting cold case if people could go back to any other crime, you know, pieces of clothing or whatever they may still have. Who knows if they even have anything left? But it does sound like there's a lot of people who do cold cases who would love to take this on.
Yeah, I am surprised that it has been taken on as a cold case. Yeah, I mean, not paranormal at all, but actual, like, worked up like a cold case, like it said.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of anyone that has, to be honest.
Yeah, we may have to contact one of the crime podcasts that Chris does and see if they'd be willing. We'll put you in touch and see if it's something worth pursuing.
Yeah, well, I did go. It's not in the book, but if I read another one, it might be in there. I did go to Egeen homestead when I was there. And it was funny because I went there to Plainsfield. And to this day, they do not want to talk about Egeen. And I don't blame them. You know, walking into Plainfield and going, hey, how about that Egeen? You know, even to this day, it's a sore subject. But I happened to be out that way, and a guy I knew said he was from the area, and he says, hey, let's go over to where the Geen, because it's gone now, of course. But that's another place that is definitely is definitely crazy, cool, and nuts all at the same time. So if you're ever in Wisconsin, what's that?
What is that one?
They just did the Netflix thing on it, that monster show. They just did Egeen. And Egeen was he had killed several people and robbed a bunch of graves. He's pretty infamous, and he would take them back. He would make I don't want to get too graphic because I know this is probably a family TV show, so we're going to keep it really nice. He would make furniture out of people's skin.
Oh my God. Serial killer, obviously.
Yeah. So he would it gets very, very depraved, the story, when you read it and you kind of do the study on it. It's terrible. And when I say he made skin furniture, that's about as tame as I can be. Anything beyond that's going to start creeping into a bad area. This person was terrible. But I do plan to write another book. I got other places because I also look for Bigfoot and UFOs and all that stuff.
Well, we saw that picture of you with Bigfoot, so let's segue into that for a moment and give us a break from these serial killers.
Right.
That's a great picture. I love it.
It is.
Yeah. Joel, have you ever had a face-to-face?
No.
Bigfoot?
No. Well, I shouldn't say that. A couple times I've thought I've seen a really good, I think I've seen one here and there, but I can't say I was close enough to like shake its hand or anything. But I have smelled the smells. I've heard the noises. I've had the tree knocks happen to me. I've had the screaming in the woods. I've had all that stuff happening. I haven't been a sighter, as it were, like some people talk about seeing Bigfoot and, it was 8 feet tall and it was brown and I haven't had that yet. I'm open to it. And I do know there's something out there, though. I just do, because we've been out there in the woods, and I go with a group of guys, and we have had a lot of tree knocks come back to us. We've had a lot of screams, stuff like that. So there's something in the woods. I just can't explain what it is yet. Is it a Bigfoot? Could be.
Yeah. What is your do you have any thoughts on where Bigfoot comes from and why they're here? I mean,
I,
anything theory that you subscribe to with that?
I think they've always been here, of course. You know what I mean? Because we know that the Native Americans have talked about Bigfoot forever,
Right.
and now we're also talking about tribes that never had any kind of contact with each other. Talk about the same hairy men, you
Yes.
know, and they have never had any contact with each other to get together and so say, hey, by the way, let's write this on the caves. So they had no way of knowing each other's lore, but each one of them have stories about encountering wild men of the woods.
Right.
You know, and also believe that that they don't stay in one place. You know, they're probably like any other animal. They're going to go where the food goes. So
Mhm.
they're definitely, you know, like right now I'm in northern Minnesota, so it's very cold out. So you don't get a lot of sightings. You get a sparse sighting here and there, but by and large, you don't get sightings. That's because I think, like any other animal, they are migrating. They're going, you know, they're following the food.
Yeah.
Do you find that there's any area of the country that has more sightings than any other?
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems the South, and then of course the Pacific Northwest. Of
Mhm.
course, you know, this is kind of like, you know, the gold standard. That's what everyone talks about seeing them. But I do know Arkansas has quite a bit,
Hmm.
especially that they made a movie in the '70s about it, the Boggy Creek Legend of Boggy Creek,
Yes. Right.
and so I've been down there. And I've
Wow.
gone to that area, and people still swear to this day that they're having encounters with this aggressive Bigfoot, and so I haven't seen any evidence of it, but boy, there's sure a lot of people that are having sightings. Now I've seen a few tracks down there, you know, the three-toed tracks, but you know, you get down there, and the problem down there, and I shouldn't say the problem, but there's a lot of hoaxsters too because it got so popular
Right.
Mhm.
that you don't know what's
What's real?
real
Yeah.
and what's not, you know. So when I've been down there with, you know, travel in my travels, I would talk to them about it, and they are absolutely adamant that they have a Bigfoot, and I believe them. I believe them, and
Mhm.
you know, and a lot of, and these are coming from people that don't want to talk about it. You know, they have nothing to gain. You know, it's not
Well,
like
you
this.
don't when
It's
you
not like the shop owner that's got the Bigfoot stop and go, going, "Yeah, I saw one." No, these are people that don't have any reason. You
You
know, they're
know, you
not gonna.
fill you
They're
up
not
with gas.
right, right. They're not gonna, you know, make any money on it. So
Is
well,
there any part of the country that you feel has more infestation, shall we say, of the things that are paranormal than others?
you know, that Bridgewater Triangle. I
oh,
was out there, and it's the hype is there. I mean, it lives up. It's got a lot of weird stuff going on in there,
and
and I
that's right
can't.
near us. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can't figure it out because I mean, you know, you have Freetown, you know, or it used to be called Freetown. What do they call where Lizzie Borden was from?
Mhm.
Right.
You know, because that's part of the triangle.
Yeah.
And I've been in that triangle, and I gotta say, it is weird. Patricia's either one of you. I don't know if you've been in the Bridgewater Triangle,
No. No.
but it's definitely strange, and it
Wow.
runs the gamut from puckwedgies to Bigfoot to ghosts to UFOs to you
Yeah.
name it. We seem to have it there.
Even those pugwages. Sounds like a cute little name, but they say that they can kidnap you, and they
You
can
know,
definitely leave you astray in that swamp, and then you can't find your way out.
we were there, and we were in the Hockomock swamp area. And one of the locals were talking to him. He says, "Yeah, yeah, you just you know, stay on the trail and don't believe those puck wedgies." I stopped and I'm like, I'd never heard of a puck wedgie at this point.
Yeah.
I'm like, "What are you
They're like
talking about?
band
What's a puck? What a puck wedgie?" He says, "Oh yeah, they'll kill you."
yeah.
I'm like, what? He says, "Yeah, they'll lure you into the woods is what they'll do, and then
And
they'll
they yeah,
get you. They'll kill you."
that's
We
right.
have lots of missing people around here,
Oh,
so just
wow.
letting you know.
And it's
It's
so funny because it's this cute little name, but it's not a cute little
no, I guess they're just
name
mean little
Surprise,
critters.
surprise, huh?
can be. Yeah. And we know, we've had so many people on the show talking about their encounters and all kinds of things and Mothman and everything. And they say It's good and bad and everything. With even the same with the fae or the fairies. There's good and bad and everything. So
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be able to discern that on your journey as a paranormal researcher, you could end up in some trouble.
And that's the thing is it's easier than you think to run into trouble.
Yeah.
And it's not even the paranormal variety. Sometimes it's the locals, and sometimes it's tripping and falling in a cemetery. There's a lot that can happen.
There is a lot that can happen, and you do have to be careful. I mean, this stuff is fun and adventurous, but there are some things you have to watch out for. You are a great experiencer because you know what you're doing, you know what to watch for. But I do hesitate to encourage people to go out and do this when they have no experience. They just have this, excitement for it. It's like, well, do you really know what you're getting into?
Well, like I say in the book, you can't find anyone else, call me, I'll come with you.
There you go. You can be there. Well, look, even Bob Bigelow, who used to own Skinwalker Ranch, he had something follow him home, and they say that was one of the reasons he sold the place.
Right.
Really? Interesting.
Yes.
Because he was a billionaire. Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
he is a billionaire, and he owned it for whatever reason.
Still is.
Yeah, he's not losing any money.
Well, he was very interested in UFOs and all of that. All of his buildings in Las Vegas for his space business have little alien heads on them.
What do you think of Skinwalker Ranch, guys? Think it's legit?
Yes, I think it is. What do you think?
Yeah, I do too.
I've talked to enough people that I've never been there. To be honest, I've never put boots on the ground in Skinwalker, but I do know a lot of people that have, and they say it's genuine. That there's a lot of unexplained stuff going on.
We had a remote viewer on who was also a medical intuitive, and she was asked, remember, to go ahead and remote view the area, and she saw 3 alien bases under that ranch. Yeah.
Well, if you read the accounts of people that have been on that ranch, and especially that original family that broke the story where they're shooting the wolf and the wolf wasn't reacting, and and they left because of what was going on, and they seem like, when you hear them and if you hear them speak, they seem like a no nonsense group of people. They were like the salt of the earth kind of ranchers that they didn't want to lose their ranch. So they want to make a go of it, and they spent a lot of money to be there. And of course they were chased off, or bought out by, somebody. Was it Bigelow that bought them out ultimately? I
think it was Bigelow first, and then he sold it to another billionaire who is doing the television show. And I hear he's doing a very good job with everything, and they have cameras everywhere and security everywhere. So, and I guess they hear a lot of machinery noises underground.
Is it as active now as it ever was, or is it starting to taper off?
I'm not sure. It's a very good question. I don't watch the show. I don't know what they're up to yet, or today. But it would it'd be something, a good question to have answered.
Well, it's funny. I have a little confession. I maybe watched 4 or 5 paranormal shows my whole life. Like 4 or 5, period. Not like series, 4 or 5.
Get in there and be a part of it. You don't want to
because they walk around and they go, oh, there's something here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what are you guys doing? I mean,
I know. I don't find anything entertaining about that either. I'm with you.
It's like,
you don't like, let's pretend, huh?
Well, it's like, what? Come on, man. That's not how it works. Come on.
What I do really like, Joel, are the ones where they reenact things, the docudramas.
I like those. I'll sit through those. A Haunting. Remember A Haunting? That was a great show. That was an awesome show. I like that show.
That was New Dominion.
Yeah, you got the entertainment, and you got the story, and you got this, you got that. And I also knew it was entertainment at the same time. It wasn't trying to sell itself as,
other than what it is, for sure.
Right.
The other one that was really, really good, I thought the best of the best, was Paranormal Witness.
Yes, that was good. That was good.
Very well done. And they had some of the most unique stories I've ever seen. I mean, they had one about a werewolf that I just couldn't stop thinking about. It was just an amazing story. And I didn't see anybody else carry anything close to that. So they were very much on the cutting edge. I don't think that show is in production anymore, which is too bad.
Right.
Very
No,
high
I'm
quality.
gonna
And
go. I'm gonna go a little further back, Patricia, on you. In Search of Leonard Nimoy, man. That was,
miss you, Leonard.
that was pretty awesome. But
He
I
was great.
don't know how you guys feel about the ghost shows. Myself, and I don't begrudge anyone that watches them. Hey, I mean, if that's something,
Entertainment.
if you like it, that's your thing. But I do believe if I were to be in their shoes, I put a big disclaimer saying entertainment purposes only.
Mhm.
Because some of the stuff they're doing, what?
A little scary for some.
Well, it's like you don't want to encourage anybody to go into these haunted places and poke the bear. It's like that is a mistake, and especially with the veil being as thin as it is today.
Right. Yeah.
Invites a lot of trouble.
All of the locations in the book are now they have very good programs, strictly monitored. You can get yourself. Go on a tour. They're made now for you to be safe. They're not. They're definitely, because I didn't want to put anything in there that someone's going to go out there, hurt themselves, and say, "Well, I read it in Joel's book. He said I can go here."
Wow. Yeah.
And I don't ever want anyone to go out there and hurt themselves. They should be having a good time, not hurting themselves.
Right.
But,
some people don't realize what they're doing, what their actions are going to provoke. Like I remember there was a young couple that went into the area where Mothman was.
Mm-hmm.
So in these, it wasn't caves, but it was like an old military facility, partially underground. I don't remember exactly, something like that. But
it was.
They started calling out to Mothman and taunting Mothman, and guess what followed them home? Mothman.
Right. Yeah.
So
it's that old adage.
It's like, look, you idiots, you did this. You provoked Mothman, you taunted Mothman. Mothman has a consciousness, and he's now communicating with you in a way you don't like, but you started it.
I just asked John Keel all about that.
Right. I mean, they left. They had to leave their home because they were getting all these phone calls with nothing but static on it, and then this smelly stuff turned up like on the mirrors in their bathroom and elsewhere. It was they really were frightened. They moved. It moved with them. So it's like, don't do it, everybody. Be respectful. Respectful. This is, again, an entity that has a consciousness, and you're going to play with it like this. That's not a good way to go.
I'm a firm believer. You go in the way you'd want to be treated, right? So, if you're in off the street and you go to a ghost, say, "Hey, you son of a gun, show yourself. I'm this and I'm so awesome. Show yourself." You're going to get that right back at you, right? So, would I want to talk to you if you came into where I am and started yelling at me? No way. Because, in my opinion, ghosts are the same, right? They're just people without bodies now at this point. And so I've found through my investigations that, a lot of respect goes a long way. If you're cool with them, they're going to be cool with you in most cases. And then there's sometimes that, you just know you're not wanted.
Right.
They don't want you around.
What about skinwalkers, Joel? Because that's one that really is spooky, huh?
Yeah, it is. It is now when. In my research, the skinwalkers themselves, that's a Navajo tradition, right? And so I've never gone. I do know some researchers that have done a lot of skinwalker stuff, and I commend them for it because it's not easy to do. And they go out to the Southwest to do it, of course, and you can really put yourselves in harm's way doing that stuff.
You can.
Physically.
Yes.
And so I'm a little, I don't want to sound like a wimp here, but I'm a little hesitant, because I've heard the stories of, it can get ugly fast. And I think you have to understand. I think you have to understand what you're dealing with before you want to go deal with it. Right. So, the old adage of don't go find snakes unless you really want to find one. Don't go looking unless you want to find one.
Yeah, it's interesting because there is such a big difference between the friendly ghost that is just either caught in time and space or just won't leave because they like where they are. You know, somebody similar to Ron that just was passing through again one last time.
Mhm.
And there's a big difference between that and some of the other things that are out there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to know the difference and know what you're getting into.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, but I encourage everyone to get out there, at least drive around, go to these different places. Because if anything else, there's a lot of cool history with it.
That's right. Yes.
Where were you originally from, Joel?
I'm from Minnesota, northern Minnesota, in Duluth area. Yeah. Yeah. So right next to Lake Superior. And so, yeah, and that's where I live now. I'm back up here and I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world, although it does get cold. We had like,
yes, just a tad.
yeah, we had, well, what did we have? 40 plus below the other day. So, I mean, it definitely gets chilly. You gotta be hardy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Lots of fur throws.
What does your family think about your ghost hunting?
Well, they support it from afar. I do have a wonderful wife that supports it and goes, yeah, you go do whatever you want to do. Until I brought some stuff home with me from the Palmer house. And that was when I had gone to the Palmer house some years ago, and it's a great location. If you ever want to go to a haunted hotel, the Palmer is a great place to hang out and go see. And it's legit haunted. Yeah, it's definitely got some activity going for it. And I had gone to the Palmer house and I came back and now I didn't see any of this. My wife had saw it. She said she woke up in the middle of the night and there was 3 ghosts standing at the end of her bed, 3 shadow figures. And that freaked her out. She jumped out of bed like 10 feet in the air and she woke me up. She goes, someone's in our house. There's 3 of them.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And she thought it was intruders at first. And I looked around, there's no one. And then about 2 or 3 days later, the same thing happened again to her. So something had followed me home. And see, and this is where I was naughty. I didn't protect myself at all, right? I was like, come on. I do that now. I'm very much into that. I even put that in the book. You got to be careful, because don't be like me and then bring things home with you.
Scare the hell out of your poor wife.
Right. And they left. Whatever it was short-lived. It kind of ran its cycle, and it probably got bored with me. They're probably like, well, this guy's really boring. We're gonna do something different, man. That's all he does is talk into a microphone all day. Jeez, that's great. But it can happen. Things can come back with you.
Yeah, exactly. Now, do you want people to reach out to you with their ghost?
Absolutely.
Get a hold of you, Joel. What's the best
Facebook? Just look me up, Joel Sturgis. I talk to everybody. You can email me. You can use my radio show email, afterhoursam@gmail.com if you want. But the most effective is like Facebook. Just hit me up on Facebook. We'll strike up a conversation. Got questions? You can find the book over there on Amazon. It's a digital book right now. I'm trying to get it published in a hard copy. I'd like to do that down the road. But I would love it if everybody would just stop on in, buy the book, and see what it's like. And really, it took me forever to write the darn thing. And also, if you do get the book, feel free to write something down too. Good, bad, or ugly. I'll take all the comments you got. So
reviews that you deserve. Absolutely. So right now it's digital only.
Yeah. I want to get an actual physical release. That'll be coming. And that's harder than I thought it would be. There's a lot of hoops to jump through to get those physical releases.
Oh, but we should talk. I'll have to give you a call about that. Maybe I can help you.
That'd be so awesome.
Yeah.
You guys rock. You guys got a great show. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, thank you. This is
immensely.
This is so much fun
talking your book.
Well, I'm glad you guys liked it. I was so afraid. I'll tell you what, really quick, because I know we have to run. I was so afraid that after I wrote it, because to me it sounded great, but you never know how others going to feel about how you wrote it and how it came across, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was lucky. People all pretty much said, it was not badly written. You at least conveyed what you need to convey.
Well, I liked it a lot.
I did too. Very much so.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Again,
Thank you.
These kinds of books are great. and it's fun to read to each other late at night in front of a fire or whatever.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love the cover. You
Yes,
designed
get your
that.
attention.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun writing it. I mean, because it took forever to write the darn thing because it took 30 years of research, and so a lot of it I was dusting off the old computer files and what was it like over there and stuff like that. So it took a little bit, and some of them I saw evolution of myself too, from the first investigations I was doing to the end ones I do now.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I look at myself, I go, wow, was I dumb? I mean, what were you thinking, man?
You're young, looking for adventure in the paranormal world. Well,
Proves the growth that you have. That's all.
Right. And it was a lot of interesting things I would try. Like Harry Price, like I used to read, Harry Price, the old 1800s paranormal investigator.
yes.
I even tried the flower on the floor technique because I was hearing these footsteps, and you know what? It worked.
Oh,
We had footsteps in the flower.
Flower.
my word.
It worked. I couldn't believe it. Some of that old stuff, right, that no one does anymore.
No, we'll see.
It
You're bringing this
works.
back.
It's
It's
messy, but it works.
We have vacuums now. So it's okay. We can deal.
Yeah. So,
This is great.
I tried a little bit of everything.
Oh, that's
Well,
great.
you've done a great job with the book. Everybody go buy it, and I'm going to help you try to get this published. And get
Oh
it.
man, Patricia, you rock. Thank you
Well,
so much.
my God.
Patricia,
Yeah.
you guys got a bang up show here. Thanks
Okay.
again.
Thank you. We'll have you back for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
And
You ever
everybody,
just want to? Hey, I'll come on anytime you need me. You ever just
Oh,
want to come on and BS and chew the fat? Jack, I'm your guy.
well, right. We
Sounds
want-
good.
Yes. Very much enjoyed you, Joel. Thank you so much. And everybody, next week we are going to have Miss PK come back with her very viral topic about house numbers and how it's affecting you. So make sure you join us and look it up on TikTok, on our TikTok channel. Follow us there. Subscribe on YouTube so you know what we're doing when. And
That we'll know what we're doing.
maybe we'll know. Yeah, it could happen. So anyway, so be safe, everybody. And until next week, we will see you on the Blue Highway. Good night.
Good night. Thank you,
See you
Joel.
guys.